The brackets for the 2018 Men's and Women's Mountain Basketball Championship have been released. I'm Bryan Buck.
And I'm Sydney Wicker, and tonight we will update spring sports and interview a former CSU hockey player who signed to play professionally in Sweden.
The CSU men's basketball team dropped their final regular season game against the New Mexico Lobos on Wednesday with a score of 108-87. The Rams played well over the final half of the game, but were down by as many as 30 points in the first half. The Rams turned the ball over 13 times in the first half and allowed 14 of 15 shooting inside the arc to the Lobos in that same half. Joe Fustinger for UNM was 5 of 5 from the field and 5 of 5 from the line to give him 15 points in the first half alone. Here's 2 inside shots by him, an exceptional one there in the second, that's an and one. The Rams were rallying early. Here, a rebound by Nico Carvacho, and then the assist. He had 11 rebounds and 4 assists for the Anthony Bonner three-pointer. Raekwon Mitchell here, down the lane. He was the heart of the Rams in the first half. He had 21 points on 7 of 12 shooting in the game and had that big block early in the first half. But New Mexico was relentless inside. Here, Vladimir Pichuk and then Joe Fustinger again, both with the dunks. The Lobos were 12 of 12 from inside the paint for 24 points in the first half and shot well from 3 as well. Chris McNeil there with the three-pointer. He was 3 of 5 from 3 in the game. And Shea Bob gets the nice layup. He had 8 points, 5 rebounds in his senior night, but fouled out late, unfortunately. The Lobos had a 58-32 lead at the half, but the Rams rallied in the locker room at half and scored 55 points in the second half. But the Lobos offensively held the Rams at arm's length, only allowing the lead to shrink to 15 in the second half. The Rams fell to 11-20 overall and 4-14 in the Mountain West. The Rams will now travel to Las Vegas for the Mountain West Tournament, where they will face the Utah State Aggies on Wednesday, March 7th at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time. The Rams defeated the Aggies in Logan, Utah on January 10th this year by a score of 84-75 in the two teams' only matchup this season. This past Friday, Colorado State's athletic director, Joe Parker, held a press conference to discuss the Larry Eustachy climate assessment, the coach's resignation from the men's basketball program, and the new search for a head coach for the men's basketball program.
You know, for the first time in my tenure here at CSU, we became aware of a complaint that was direct from the student within the basketball roster. And, you know, we got a cultural expectation within our department that you never pass a problem. So when we recognized that there was concern coming from a student, we decided that we had better understand that better and needed to do our due diligence to figure out what that was. So the process we came up with is what I referred to right at the onset was our climate assessment. And let me remind everyone that we are constantly assessing climate. I mean, that's what we do on a daily basis, right? We've got 16 varsity programs, 380 student athletes, 140 employees, and we think a lot about what we want the experience to be for our students especially, but for our staff members as well. So, you know, in retrospect, I guess there's probably more that we could have done, right? But isn't hindsight a wonderful thing? And am I confident that we were making opportunities known to every student that if they have a concern that they should feel comfortable to raise it? Yes. Are we going to continue to do that? Yes.
You have children, right?
I have children.
Would you be comfortable with having them go play for a coach like Larry Eustachy?
Neither one of my kids play basketball, but
whatever sport they play,
yeah,
and his style, and what you found out about him.
You know, I'd let my son or my daughter make that decision for themselves.
Would you want them to?
I go back.
Parker went on to discuss what the coaching search will look like, stating he hopes the search will be complete within 30 days and hinting that there is a possibility of a female head coach, as speculation has grown about Becky Hammond being a candidate for the position. This would be the first female head coach for the CSU men's basketball team and the first full-time head coach in Division I basketball history. Hammond is a former CSU basketball player and currently an assistant coach in the NBA for the San Antonio Spurs and is highly regarded by her peers. This afternoon, CSU selected Fogler Consulting to help in the men's basketball coaching search. Parker has worked with Fogler on prior searches at 2 different institutions. CSU will pay Fogler $25,000 for their assistance.
The Colorado State women's basketball team will open up the 2018 Mountain West Women's Basketball Championship against the Fresno State Bulldogs. The Bulldogs won both meetings this year, and the Rams will look to get them back in the third meeting between the two teams. Head coach Ryun Williams said, "They've beat us twice. We've had two really close games. We need to minimize our mistakes we've made the first couple games, which we should, and we should make some shots." The women play tomorrow at 2:30, and if they win, they will face the number 1 seed Boise State or Air Force Wednesday at 6:30. All games can be found on the Mountain West Network. The Mountain West released its all-conference basketball honors earlier today, and CSU had 3 recipients. On the women's side, senior guard Hannah Tvrdy, who is averaging just under 12 points and over 6 rebounds per game, received all Mountain West honors. Freshman guard Gracie Gallup, who scored 15-plus points and 5 times and is shooting 48%, is a member of the all-freshman team. On the men's side, big man Nico Carvacho, who led the Mountain West in rebounds and is averaging a double-double per game in Mountain West play, received honorable mention in his sophomore season at Colorado State. On Saturday, the CSU tennis team took on Omaha on the courts. For the women's first home match of the year, they were able to win 7-0. Sophomore Riley Reeves and freshman Emma Corwin were able to lock in the opening point of the match for CSU, with a win of 6-0. For the first time since 2004, the Rams have been on a winning streak by winning the last 6 of their 7 matches. The success continued for the Rams as they headed into Sunday to take over Presbyterian. Freshman Priscilla Palomiro sealed their first singles match victory of the day by winning 6-2. Freshman Emily Lichtschwager followed the win with a 7-5 and 6-1 win over Presbyterian's number 2 ranked Tracy Johnson. Lichtschwager and Corwin extended their victories of singles matches to an unbeaten streak since they last played Nebraska on February 5th. After the match Saturday, CTV Sports reporter Jared Stratton was able to catch up with the head coach of the tennis team.
I'm Jared Stratton here with Jared Camarada, the tennis coach for the CSU Rams. We just finished the first home game of the year. And how did you feel about that first home game?
Yeah, it was great. We had a great crowd today, and I was really happy. It was great to get the 7-0 win, but we really appreciate the crowd for coming out, and can't have better weather than this at the beginning of March.
Well, yeah, of course. And about that 7-0 win, I don't think anyone here was expecting a full sweep. How did you manage to pull that off?
Yeah, I mean, just we played great doubles to start, and then we had good start on every court in singles, and we kind of hung on to finish at a couple courts, and some of them we finished strong. But yeah, anytime you can sweep a team, you'll take that as a coach.
Yeah, exactly. And for the beginning of the year, you guys started off a little rough, but then you guys have been on a hot streak since. Is there anything that's been changed throughout the season?
I think we're playing much better doubles. I think that's a great thing, and I think intensity-wise in singles, and we're being just a little more vocal with each other and with the crowd, kind of getting crowds into it, and I think they've realized the benefit of that. It's not so much changing tactics or technique, it's more about just learning how to play a team college match.
All right, well, thank you for the interview, Jared. I'm signing off for CTV.
The Rams finished the weekend 2-0. The Rams will next look to play the University of California, San Diego next week, and then they will return home to play Creighton on March 24th.
That's all we have for you right now, but don't go anywhere, because when we get back from break, we will see how the CSU wrestling team is doing and sit down with a hockey player who just signed to play professionally in Sweden.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
The CSU wrestling team headed to Wayne, Nebraska 2 weekends ago to see who they could qualify for the national tournament. But before they left, I was able to catch up with them and see what the season has been like for them. As the team gets ready for the national tournament, there's a lot of excitement and high hopes for a national championship.
As a coaching staff and as students, I mean, they all work very hard to get better as a team, and we've been building a team. And so to kind of have that at the end of the season as a team, to win something big like that as a team, it's the culmination of our season. So yeah, it would mean a great deal to everybody.
Head coach Kendall, who once wrestled at CSU, wanted to make sure that this team was a family.
There was one weekend where we were going to go to a tournament in Greeley, and we decided not to. We decided we needed to get in shape, first of all, but we needed to kind of bond as a team. And we try to do as many things as we can as a team, you know, between everybody getting together to study and doing things outside of practice. But this one weekend we decided we were going to go up and we were going to hike Grey Rock as a team. So I'm a home brewer, right? And I had a half-barrel keg that still had about that much in it, so it wasn't empty, it wasn't full. And I duct taped the word team on it. And I said, team first, that's the only rule, we're gonna go up that mountain. And so whoever was leading the hike carried that keg. And so they'd take turns running with that keg. And they got it all the way up to Grey Rock. And if you go back on our Instagram pages and things like that, there's pictures of all these guys holding a keg on top of Grey Rock. It's fantastic. And that's a fun story to tell as a coach. You know, I like doing goofy things like that, and they're gonna remember that for a long time. But it still makes the point, it's like team first. If we're really gonna grow as a team, this needs to be a priority. It's not just, you know, somebody running off on their own and we'll catch up to you later. We have to do this together, you know, and I think what we did that day kind of speaks to how we really treat every practice and every tournament and every outing. Like we're in this together, we support each other.
As the team prepares for nationals, they have a lot to think about this week.
Your past losses don't mean anything. There's just so much room for growth and improvement. So I think just being able to see my improvement has really kept me going. So.
For more information on the CSU wrestling team or to stay updated on their weekend, you can follow them through their Instagram page at CSU Rams Wrestling or by their Facebook page by looking up CSU Wrestling.
Go Rams!
For the CSU wrestling team, they were able to qualify 11 men and 2 women to the national competition this year, and were able to take first the past weekend at the Great Plains Tournament. They will head to Allen, Texas for the national tournament this weekend.
Former star CSU football wide receiver Michael Gallup attended the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, Indiana over the weekend. Gallup ran the 40-yard dash with a time of 4.51 seconds and benched 225 pounds 10 times. There has been discussion that Gallup will be taken on day 1 of the NFL draft, but will likely remain a day 2 selection in the upcoming draft. Gallup affirmed this status with his impressive performance this weekend. The 2018 NFL Draft begins in April 26th in Arlington, Texas.
Don't go anywhere. When we get back, I will interview former CSU hockey goalie Dax Dietrich about his recent signing to play professionally in Sweden.
You are listening to 90.5 KCSU Fort Collins with DJ Meanbeat,
DJ Nightshade,
DJ Wildcard. Music to me is
one of the best creative outlets that I can think of.
An escape from the real world.
Music to me is an expression of love.
To go from like folk to hip hop to like classic rock, 1960s bossa nova. With music, there's like no boundaries.
I work here because I love music, and you do too.
I am joined now by CSU senior hockey goalie Dax Dietrich to talk about the opportunity that he has been given to play at the next step of his hockey career. Thanks for joining us, Dak.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, so let's just get right into this. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how long you've been playing hockey and the history of the sport in you?
I've been playing hockey about 15 years. Yeah, and as far as how it all started, I was in Butte, Montana. That's where I grew up in my early childhood, and that's where I was able to learn how to skate on the pond and, you know, eventually find the pads. So.
Nice. I know this last season was a little bit rough for you guys, but the season before that, you guys actually won the national championship. How has that benefited you so far?
Yeah, you know, last year I did a lot for our program. That was the first time, you know, in school history, you know, that, you know, we were able to, you know, make that happen, and so, yeah, so, you know, it made a lot of noise, and yeah, it was good.
That's good. You are the first goalie from CSU to sign at a professional level. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means to you and the honor that comes along with that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of hard to put into words, but, you know, with CSU, it's, you know, I owe a lot to the school and the organization, and, you know, and everyone that, you know, helped me along the way here. Yeah, so it's, it means a lot. It's pretty special.
Let's talk a little bit about this team in Sweden. Who exactly are you playing for, and how did you get started with this whole process?
Yeah, so it's, Strickland is where I'm going to be playing for the 18-19. And as far as how I got in contact with them, after last year, going to the national tournament, we were able to get in contact through Facebook and an agency that was working with 93 Hockey Services. And so myself and those guys were able to partner up and get in contact with their organization and, yeah, make this happen. Yeah.
What are you most excited for this next step?
You know, I'm not sure. There's so much, you know, that's, you know, to look forward to, but yeah, I'm just excited to, you know, see what, you know, the next level's like, and, you know, the culture changes, you know, and yeah, you know, I'm excited for all of it. Yeah.
Good. I know Sweden is a big step, big adjustment for you. So how do you look to continue your career there?
Well, you know, one step at a time. You know, I couldn't be more grateful for, you know, to do this. You know, this is a lifelong dream, you know, for all of us. So it's, yeah, hopefully I can, you know, keep playing as long as I can, and yeah, you know, we'll see.
I know yesterday when I watched you sign, you got a little emotional, so I know this is really important to you, but who has kind of been your support system through all of this?
Oh man, my family for sure, my parents, you know, without their support, you know, my mom, you know, financially supporting me, man, even to this day, you know, it's, this could not have been possible. But I owe thanks to, you know, coaches, family, friends, anyone that's backed me or, you know, had support, you know, in this long road. So it's, yeah, so I have thanks to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dax, and congratulations on this. This is a huge step for you.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Well, thanks for joining Brian and I for sports tonight. That's all we have for now, but have a fun and safe spring break. We will be back on March 19th, but tune in tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. for CTV News and more sports updates from anchor Tara Barrio. Have a great night, Rams.